When I told my parents that, they were like, you're fucking crazy. Like that's ridiculous.
But there might have been a single moment that you're like, man, I'm built for this.
Where things changed for me was making music with my childhood friend, Ralph. I started DJing when I was 12 years old. I was a little kid. I was DJing like every weekend as a little kid. I remember the day Celia Cruz passed away. I remember playing a Celia song, like the original version of it, right? And people were just like, tearing up, like it was like emotional, it was like an emotional moment.
Where you've had a major setback.
When the first night that I was supposed to play at Space,
yeah,
we opened up on a Saturday night and nobody showed up.
What's one piece or advice that you would give it to them and why?
Find your voice. Like, what do you bring to the table? Be it like, what makes you original? What makes you stand out? Those kind of things.
What's next?
My only plan is...
Welcome back for another edition of Industry Talks Hospitality Podcast. I'm your host, Emi Guerra, and today I have the OG of Miami, DJ Oscar G. Oscar, great, and thank you for being with me today.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Man, guys, Oscar and I were, and his brother Jason, who's here in the background, have been talking for the last hour. I wish we would have recorded all of it because it's been great getting together with an old dear friend and talking a little bit about hospitality. We're here at the Grape Ape. It's a new restaurant that Oscar is involved in and opened with his partner and brother Jason and with Chef Giorgio.
Yes.
Giorgio is a badass. I can't wait to talk about him.
And our brother-in-law, Greg Chin, is our other partner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so it's a family affair.
Yeah, it's a complete family affair.
Oh,
yeah.
man, that's great. Working with family is always...
Complicated?
Yeah.
You know.
Listen, you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
Of course not.
But it is a little bit of, everybody has their quirks, and then it's hard to draw the line, and it's tough, but I wouldn't change it. And there's a lot of families in Miami that do it, and it's exciting. I can't wait to hear about it. Before we dig into the hospitality, the one thing that every time I see you is brings back so many memories is how we connected and how everything happened and Space and DJing and I mean this was 25 years ago, 26 years ago when I first got to meet you in person and talk and I mean if you could take us back even before then, because by then you were already, in my eyes, you were already famous in the year 2000 when we opened Space. But there might have been a single moment or a party or a club that you're like, man, I'm built for this. I'm built for this, like music, dark beats or whatever it is, because you've always had that sound. But there must have been one story or one time that it changed the trajectory of your career and life in DJing.
I think where things changed for me was making music with my childhood friend, Ralph Falcone.
Fuck, I love Ralph.
Yeah, of course. And we really connected on the music tip. We started a record label. And we were doing, at the time, we were doing like, random DJ gigs, club gigs, stuff like that to get money. And we kind of like, got our coins together and pressed some records. And it just took off. And that was really like the moment where I thought, like the phone started ringing for us to do gigs. I think the first time we went out of town was we did a run in California. We did a couple of gigs in San Francisco, a couple in LA. And that's when it was kind of like, oh man, like.
How old were you when that happened?
I was probably 19. I
Wow.
just out of high school.
Traveling already?
Yeah. But before that, I was, I started DJing when I was 12 years old. I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And I was DJing like every weekend as a little kid, like literally every weekend kind of thing. And from
music?
there,
What music?
Oh man, back then it was like hip hop. I always loved hip hop, freestyle, Miami bass,
Yes,
electro
yeah.
stuff, that kind of stuff.
Oh my God. So wait, for the young people I don't know, you said you saved up some coin and pressed some records. What does pressing records mean?
Oh man, back then, it's not just pressing records, because back then you had to go into a studio, lay things down to tape. So like
tape.
The
process.
Yes. And then the expense, like to put out a song on a 12-inch, you're talking, thousands and thousands of dollars. So just because if you just figure the studio time, the pressing, the mastering, the pressing plant, it's a lot of stuff. And Ralph and I were literally taking the stuff, like we take the tape from the studio, go to the mastering lab, get the plate from there, go to the pressing plant, and then a few weeks later pick up boxes of records, and then we would take them to a local record store that was helping us ship them out, to the world basically, and that's kind of how it took off.
Wow, man, I just remember the good old days when those crates used to walk into. It's like being a DJ. It also meant you had to have a great back, to pick up all the cases of records, especially your long sets, man. I remember seeing that. I remember seeing the press about the Merc boys. How'd you come up with the name Merc?
Dude, Merc. It's basically like we took it from the adjective murky, like murky waters, and that's what we wanted. It's just like dark, cloudy. We felt it kind of like
that was
the vibe we were.
It was the vibe you were after.
Yeah.
It definitely became the Miami sound, I would say, for a large portion.
That's what people said. We could we could never figure it out exactly what that meant, but yeah.
When you then you eventually started flying aside from in the U.S. at the age of 19. When did you start going abroad, like out of the country?
Soon after that, man. It was, I would say, by the time I was 21, we had been around the world at that point.
Wow. I mean, I remember seeing Japan. I remember
seeing... we had been pretty much everywhere at that point, dude. Like all over Europe, Ibiza, obviously.
When was the first time you played in Ibiza?
Must have been Pasha in, I don't even know when that was, man. Maybe 92, 93, something
Jesus
like that.
Christ.
Yeah.
I was in 6th grade in 1992. Wow, man. It must have,
and I was 21, I just could get in legally, to the club. Yeah.
But that's amazing. I mean, the youth really is at the forefront, especially then, of music, culture, lifestyle, right? And you guys were doing it. I want to fast forward. I might fast forward a few years, but you and I connected in the year 2000 when we opened Space. And I'll never forget it. Our mutual friend, eventually became my partner, God rest his soul, Alex Ohms, introduced us, and he was the one who's like, hey, guys, you need to have Oscar G here. Like, you need to do it, because it was like, you just need to do it. And here you are, you're famous, and you've obviously have been around the world. We're like, hey, let's come do this thing. And for those that don't or never went to the original Space, we had 4 rooms. A big blue room that was like, for lack of a better term, let's call it a main room. Mm-hmm. The red room, which was more of a kind of VIP lounge, but still almost the same size as a blue room. And then there was a hip hop room and an outdoor terrace. And when you first started playing, you were in the red room.
Well, truth be told, when the first night that I was supposed to play at Space, we opened up on a Saturday night, and nobody showed up. Remember that?
Yes.
Not a single person showed up. So
yeah.
I didn't play. I was supposed to play in the blue room, but nobody showed up. Then the second week, I think we had like a dozen people.
Yep.
And
it was like 4 weeks in a row of that.
It was like a real slow build, And then
on the Saturdays.
Yes. And then eventually I started playing in the red room as people walked in. And then that's when, we started building something.
Yeah, we did. And for those that don't know, Space originally opened up Fridays, and it was electronic music, and Edgar V, our boy, was crushing it.
Yes.
And then Saturday was a big gay party.
Correct.
And then for whatever reason, a few months later, it wasn't working out, and we're like, okay, let's, Emmy, let's put together a team and let's do Saturdays, right? And that's where you came into the picture. And it was like we had to get rid of that stigma. And I think we knocked it out of the park with not only you and the word of mouth, but also I think we lined up like a Playboy TV party. So people immediately knew, okay, this is not a gay event anymore. And then I think we booked
there was like
some
a
DJs.
big Ocean Drive thing.
Yes, a big Ocean Drive thing. The Ocean Drive party, a Playboy TV party. And Yes, it was an Ocean Drive thing. Rich Santalisa helped hook it up, and that was oh wow, what a time, man! And that I never knew back then. I knew we were doing something special, and I think obviously Lewis did, you did, but I never knew that 25 years later.
I don't think any of us thought that. You know.
No, I mean,
I think we thought we're doing something different and something that's never been done here before. I mean, we knew it because of our surroundings. I mean, you know, it was pretty crazy out there. It
was grimy.
Yeah, and I mean, anyone you would tell back then, you know, hey, we're doing this here, they were like, why? You know, like why would you do that? But yeah, to see it now, you know, this long after, it's become like an institution. You know,
it is, and it really helped, I think, transform an area. It helped clean it out some at that time. I think
it also really solidified Miami as a hub for music, for electronic music. You know,
you're absolutely
correct.
Correct.
Not that before.
It was not.
It was not. I mean, that was a real struggle for Ralph and I when we were starting out. Is that there was nowhere here for us to play.
No,
we were literally touring the world, and there was no gigs here in town because where would that happen? You know, like it just wasn't. It wasn't a thing.
A few
until like Liquid came around.
Yeah,
you know,
and
Shadow.
even then, it wasn't every single week either.
No, at all.
It was like Liquid did a good job because Victor would play there and a few others
But even then, that was on Sundays. It was a
specific gay night.
Yes.
The gay.
No, they were into it way before.
They were definitely into
the
ahead of the curve on the curated music for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then, you know, people say, no, come after your other clubs. Just come at 5 a.m. That was unheard of. I think you're the one that birthed marathon sets back then.
Yeah.
That was when I don't know if anybody was doing that before you did. I mean, definitely not in Miami.
No, here, no.
But around the world, I mean, obviously in Ibiza.
I would say, like,
in Europe, there was.
What I knew of before that was like Larry Levan, Paradise Garage. I know he would play very long hours. You know, it was very specific. It was Junior Vasquez at Sound Factory.
Yes.
You know,
yes, yeah.
Those are like that was a big influence on me, the Junior Vasquez thing. Like I went to Sound Factory several times, and I always thought, man, I never thought there would be anything like that in Miami. You know,
You're right.
It seemed impossible.
Well, you know, I think I don't want to say we copied New York, but there was definitely the inspiration.
Oh yeah, it was definitely the vibe.
It was I remember Lewis and I talking. It's like, look, what we're doing is a warehouse club with a New York underground feel.
100%.
And that was the vibe, which is totally different today.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you think about it now it's like that seems like a Miami thing. And New York doesn't really even have much of that anymore.
No.
You know? Yeah.
I think the politics kind of changed that a little bit. Possibly over there. I have notes, but I now that I'm talking to you about it, it's like I remember specific glimpses of our time working together there. There's got to be for me. I think there was a few that I remember, but forget about me for a second. What? If there was one of those extended sets, one of those nights, I mean, there's got to be like 2 or 3 top nights at Space what are 2 or 3 top nights at Space of you being there or playing that you maybe come to mind that set the rest apart?
You know what the thing is, man, that I played there for, I want to say, a better part of like 12, almost 14 years.
Yes.
And I would play every week.
Every
open
week.
and close, you know? So it's it's like so much time that it's hard to even like divvy it up. But what I remember more than nights is like moments, you know? Like I remember the day that Celia Cruz passed away.
Wow.
And I was playing on the terrace because I played in the main room till close, and then I would go up to the terrace.
Yep.
And I remember playing a Celia song, like the original version of it, right? And people were just like tearing up, like it was like emotional,
Yeah.
like an emotional moment. And those are the kind of things that stick in my mind. Not so much this night was great, just because, like I'm telling you, so, like my nights there were like many nights in one, because you play so many hours,
You were also like in the booth, like in a lab, like creating. So a night for you is a lot different than a night for, let's say, me, who I'm talking to 100 people and seeing a million things. You're zeroed in, creating this, painting the perfect picture with your music and a vibe, and then
Yeah, when during those years, I stopped touring because I could, it was impossible to put the time I would put into preparing for that kind of set every week, because you're talking the same audience. It's not the same thing like when you're a guest DJ somewhere. People are there, they're receiving you like fine wine, like they're ready. So you can do kind of like
whatever.
Exactly. But when you're years in to every week playing for 12, 14, 16 hours, you really got to reinvent on a weekly basis, not on a, yearly or whatever. It's like every week you got to come with something new.
You can't play the same set week after week.
Absolutely not.
You could go on tour and play the same set
for all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah, but when you do this, it's very challenging. So I loved it. Like, to me, that's the ultimate form of this art that I am involved with. To me, still is that, like, every week, same audience. You build anthems, you build moments that's very hard to do with guests, because that's more transient. That's more like a concert kind of setting. Yeah. Where when you play every week, it's a club and it's like a community. It's kind of like a community that comes together, right? And then you have these customs that develop. So there's certain songs that are specific to this night at this place, and those are things that stick with people. That's the one thing I miss about doing that kind of thing.
You bring up something that just came to mind. A lot of people like consistency when it comes to hospitality, right? They like to know that they go to the same bartender. They like sitting at the same table, and if it's not available, they kind of get upset. They like to hear specific songs, and if you don't play it, they get upset. Like the people today constantly asking you to play Bad Bunny, even though you don't, like that's not necessarily something you might play unless you have a sick remix I don't know about. But with music, you have to like give them some consistency, but if you do it too much, it's a catch-22, because then you're fucking boring.
Yep.
And I think you brought something to light that I never even thought of, that, when does a song get put to the back of the record case? Where it's like,
yeah.
When do you retire something?
Yeah, I think that's it's kind of like a natural occurrence where you develop an ability to read the crowd. That's like the essential thing that DJing is like taking the temperature of a room, being able to take them. I feel like a lot of young guys, they'll come in and they want to blow it up, which you should. Like, when you do get the opportunity, like I've never been one. A lot of guys are into like the opening DJ needs to respect and do. I've never felt like that. Like, I feel like if you get your moment in the sun, go for it, man. Like, it doesn't help anyone to hold back. Like the people that are in the audience. I always thought that was such a like egomaniacal thing that DJs think. Like, no, the guy before me has to dumb it down or tone it down, or we have to build. And I don't see it that way. We're all performers, and you should do your best. Like I want the guy before me to
crush it. Yeah, crush it. Maybe don't play your tracks.
Into a place. Yeah, I want to. No, even then, man. Like,
really?
Bro. Do you, dude? I'm not worried. Like,
you're not worried. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna do what I do, and I want you to do what you do. But anyway, I feel like in that spirit, like a lot of times, the people overthink things too much, and then that's when what you're talking about happens, where things get kind of lame and people play the same thing over and over again. But I think when you gain that ability to read a crowd and what they want or don't want or feel or don't feel, it's different.
You just mentioned, young guys starting out and them wanting to bang it out. If there's one piece of advice that you could give young DJs who would love to be in your shoes or want to be the next Oscar G or the next, superstar DJ, what's one piece or advice that you would give it to them and why?
Man, that's a question that I've been asked a lot over the years by young DJs starting out. And my answer to them typically has been like, find your voice, who you like, what do you bring to the table? Be it like, what makes you original? What makes you stand out? Those kind of things. But honestly, like, as I see the industry moving, I realize it's very different today than it was when I came into it. Whereas there's this whole like multi-billion-dollar industry and infrastructure built, right, with agents and management and festivals and companies, conglomerates that own clubs and all this stuff, So I don't know what I would say to people. No, for real. Like I don't even know if I would do this if I was coming into it now. Like, because my thing was more, I was just a kid. Like, I started doing this as a kid, and I love music, and I've found that thing that people were doing, the DJ thing, and I found it to be super interesting, and I just became obsessed with it. So I never really like put things into, it wasn't like this strategized thing.
It was natural.
It's just what I've done my entire life, like that's all I've done. So when I see the kind of the field, the playing field now, it's a little different. So I don't know what advice I would give, because now I think it's more like, how do you get the right management and the social media interaction and the things that were just not.
It's no longer just about the music.
At all. It's kind of a shame, obviously, but I don't know. I don't know what advice I would give in that sense, because since my connection has always been the music, I think it's maybe like oversimplified for me to say what I've been saying to guys, which is, be original, stick to your guns, like this and that. But that may not be enough, I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem like it to me, because like I said, it's kind of like, let me put it to you this way. When I started playing at Space, which was 2000, right? That was like my dream, dude, to play in the best club in town. That was like the
because there was no clubs in town that offered that.
Right. Like, but when I was a kid, the ultimate goal of a DJ was to play in the best club in town. Now, the ultimate goal of a DJ is to ride a private jet around the world and do concerts for millions of dollars. It's very, very different. It's an actual career path.
It is.
That one can take. That's not the world I walked into. My thing was like,
it became that after you've been there for a long time.
Way
and
after.
Laid down the way.
Yeah, like now you could, like, I feel like a kid can literally go to their parents and be like, I'm thinking of a career in DJing, and it could be viable, Whereas when I told my parents that, they were like, you're fucking crazy. Like that's ridiculous.
Well, I also think the atmosphere changed a lot too, because you would play and still do play for rooms for people that are there to dance. Now, people are going out to places and they're not dancing, they're watching a show. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, I actually heard David Guetta talking about this. He's like, I used to play for clubs where people would dance. Now I'm putting on a show. And now, and it's almost like I'm hearing you say something that's almost very similar too, right? Like you need a gimmick, you need a social media team, you need something, you need an identity. How do you establish your identity without the gimmick? Because you want to have an identity first. It's tough.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of pressure to put on someone. Like it's hard enough to find your way musically as an artist, but to have to do all of that even to get in the door, you know what I mean? Because you would think it would be like, I hone my craft, I perfect it, and then come close to perfecting it, and then I present it, and then people take me on, and then we figure out those things. But that's not how it is now. You need to have those things in line.
It needs to be fully developed,
right? To even get in the door.
Oh my God! Well, you did come up with a product that I think a lot of people liked, and we did it together for many years. Made in Miami. First of all, that's genius. I remember between you and David Orth and Mike from Nervous and just everybody. These are early 2000s. Not only the clubs were obviously a thing, and we started doing pool parties. And before you know it, Made in Miami was born, and you crushed it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How'd you come up with that?
Man, that was kind of a reaction, I would call it, because I always noticed that when Miami Music would come around, the locals were kind of like pushed aside, and it was like, you guys can sit back now. We're gonna have these guys play, and I was always like, what? What about us? You know what I mean? Like, what about what we're doing? There has to be some value to what we do, and it was kind of that. It was kind of like a pushback of, you know what? I'm gonna try to do our own thing.
It worked.
Yeah, thank God it worked. But yeah, I was always very confident in it, which that's not normally how I operate. But I was always very confident in it because I really believed in it. I believed that we had talent here locally, and it's strange to even talk about that now because currently there's people, especially since COVID, there's a lot of people just moving to Miami for DJ opportunities, which that was unheard of to me back then because it was unheard of to anyone because that wasn't the thing, here, there wasn't that many opportunities here and it wasn't really that kind of thing. But now, people move here to make a DJ career. So it's interesting.
Well, there's a few places now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So Made in Miami's first party, do you remember where that was? Well, I can tell you we had Made in Miami many years where we did it together at the National Hotel. Yeah. Those were incredible. I have to believe we did one. Did we ever do one at the Surf Comber?
Yeah, we did a couple. We did a couple at the Surf Comber. I know that we started doing...
Out of all the pools, which one's your favorite? Out of all the hotel pool parties that you've ever played at, what property is the best for pool parties in Miami?
Wow. I don't want to piss people off, but...
No, this is strictly talking about the architecture, the building, the layout. Not that...
The National.
The National?
I
Really?
think so.
You think the National?
Yeah. I could tell you don't, but...
Well, I'm biased to having 19 years of parties at the Surf Comber, but and having the capacity of it.
I guess this is what I would tell you.
But the capacity.
The Surf Comber, yeah, I would say the Surf Comber is the best place to have a pool party. All things considered. But like scenic, the view of it.
The view.
Yes.
The National is very pretty.
It's kind of like what you think of Miami Beach as. I feel like that's the National, Now, as far as having a party, yeah, I think it's Surf Comber.
Yeah.
But the way you guys
the way we
built
did it back then, we I think it was a different time too. We had a little more leeway into the amount of sound we were able to bring in and staging and production and after doing it for so many years, you kind of learn the quirks. But the National has a certain soul to it that's like, it's like vintage but brand new.
Exactly.
Right.
You know why?
It's Art Deco vintage but new. Right. Like
totally.
They've done a great job. That manager there, Yasser, and I don't know if he's still there or not, but he did a great job at running the hotel and just everything around it was.
I feel like when the sun is coming down there, and you see like the building and the palm trees, the beaches behind you. It's like, it's just what you think of as Miami, I think.
We did like half a dozen of them together at the National too. Yeah. No, they were. So I love I love that hotel as well. I had to ask about Made in Miami. Are you still doing those parties today? Because I've seen you do them at the Epic with Jonathan and Johnny and
Yep.
I've seen it. You're doing one now, no? It's July 4th.
Yeah, July 4th at Dare.
You're doing it at Dare.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice move. Have you played there yet?
I played there once when they first opened up. We did a Made in Miami party.
You did?
Actually. And that was when they first opened up the beach club.
Wow, it's going to be...
The whatever it's called, the day club.
The day club?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful property as well. They spent a lot of money.
And we just did one 3 weeks ago now, a rooftop thing in Manhattan at Somewhere Nowhere. Man, that was dope.
You did Made in Miami in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
People turn up for that?
Oh, yeah, man. It was awesome.
You play a lot in New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot. Like I see, like following you, you almost there every other weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but you were always like that too, though, right? If I recall correctly.
I love New York, man.
Even when you had your consistency in at Space back in the day, every few months or so, it was like, I'm going to play Friday in New York, you would still do it.
Yeah, to me, man, New York was like the mecca of all the music I love. From when I was a little kid, like hip hop was born there, and house music is such a huge thing there, and people are so educated to it that and all the DJs that I looked up to and respect, like Junior Vasquez, Louis Vega, Jellybean Benitez, Danny Tenaglia, all these guys David Morales was another one that was awesome up there. And they had these residencies which were just legendary, dude. And it was like, I was so inspired by that I always thought like, I want to have my own flag planted in this city, like I felt like if you want to be somebody in this thing, you got to like plant a flag there,
I mean, what are your top 3 nightclubs of all time in New York? Top 3. In no particular order, so you don't get, hated.
I'll say Sound Factory for sure. The original Sound Factory with Junior Vasquez. Man, that's so hard, dude. The Loft. And I love Output.
I was about to say.
Throw one in there. A little newer,
Yeah, I was about to say, man. It seems
Output.
like you do. Those parties seem pretty.
When Output shut down, I was like, oh, wow. Why? But yeah, it was an amazing club. That to me is like kind of like the perfect nightclub because they had a no phone policy.
I was about to ask you about phones.
No bottle policy. They had no VIPs, no bottles, no bottle service, and no phones allowed on the floor. So it was like, to me, anyway, from my perspective, maybe not from a business perspective, but from a DJ perspective, it was perfection.
So you're anti-phone? Phones or no phones?
No, I'm not anti-phone, man. I know there's a big thing about that. People are like, oh, people are standing there with their phones. That's just like, I do it too. Like I'm on my phone all day. I think it's cool. Like it's like to me, it's like an amazing walkie-talkie. Like the walkie-talkie we all dreamed of as kids, where you could talk to people, send videos,
video call like James Bond.
Yeah, like right now, I have people come to the booth and they have like a friend in the hospital or something, and they're like, "Yo, bro, say it." You know what I mean? FaceTime. So it's kind of like,
wow.
Yeah, it's like. I get the hang up with it. And that we do this Monday party at Coyo Taco that we've been doing for 10 years now. And there we kind of ask people not to use the phones, but that's more so like it's such a small room and it's so dark that one phone looks
lights
like
up the
there's
whole
a
room.
raid, there's a raid happening. But like overall, like I don't know. But I will say, my experiences at Output where there was a no phone policy, I loved it. So maybe there is something to it,
Do me a favor, finish this sentence for me. Nightlife needs more blank and less blank. Nightlife needs more what and less what?
I think nightlife needs more culture and less division. Like, less ropes, less dress codes, less those kind of things that separate people. I think it's whack, and more culture in the sense of building. It's kind of like what I was telling you. Like, if you think of space in those days, it's like a family atmosphere because it's a lot of the same people coming together every week, kind of thing. Whereas now it's more like it's tougher to get that because venues are more like concert venues almost.
Putting on a show.
Yeah. So there's like a different crowd every week, so you never quite get that thing. I don't know how you can achieve that, but like as I look out, as far as your sentence goes, that's where it leads me.
Obviously music's evolving and trends obviously evolve. What's the next sound or trend that you think is going to catch on? And, probably this is going to happen in Miami before the rest of the world sees it, or maybe it's going on somewhere else that you've seen it in your tours lately.
I think things are usually a reaction to things. And I feel like right now there's like kind of like an oversaturation of what is currently called Afro House. That turned into like this whole other thing from where it started. But I think there'll be some kind of reaction to that, like the anti-Afro House in a sense, like where. And you already feel it, and there is a couple of people from Miami that I hear it from. Like, there's these guys, Invite 305, that are doing really cool stuff. There's this girl, Coffin Tex, that I follow that she does really cool things, and it's kind of like this like really tough tribal, like with this Latin vibe to it, but like this tough tribal thing where they're kind of like pushing aside the melodies and the things that have come now with the Afro House thing, and they're just making it like more dirty, raw, like more, I don't know, ratchet, if you will. and I feel like
ratchet in a good way?
Yeah, in a great way, in the best possible way. And I feel like
raw,
to me,
almost.
that's catchy. Yes.
Yes. A good word for
because
it.
we're in a place where things are very polished, very melodic, very vocal. And I feel like when you hear these dirty beats and they'll sample in like, like just ratchet stuff. Mm-hmm. It sounds really fresh to me right now.
That's awesome. I have nothing to follow up on that because that's, ratchet could be cool.
Ratchet House.
Listen,
no, I don't know what it's called, but
yeah. You've obviously have had an amazing career. You by all measures are very successful at what you do. And as a artist, musician, entrepreneur, the road is never straight up. It's never like the perfect angle. There's a lot of falls and down. I think, it would be great for people to know a time that you've bombed, or whether it was in music or in business or in life, where you've had a major setback and you've been able to overcome it, and what tools or what got you through it to the other side.
The first thing that comes to mind is when I stopped doing space, I started touring a lot because I hadn't done that in so long because I was doing that for, and my agent and stuff were like, finally, but and that was cool. So, I got out there, which I hadn't done in a while, and that was cool. But I always wanted to have something at home, But at the time, I wanted something completely different from what I was doing at Space, right? So I started doing this Wednesday night party in Little Havana, and it was such a grind, dude. Like it was costing me money every week to do it. I literally had to bring equipment, sound equipment, and I was playing in a band setting. Like I was playing keyboards, because I had like several live musicians with me, incredible musicians, by the way, and a vocalist and the whole thing. And it was called Tropicasa. And
it was at
Hoy Como Ayer, which is like a legendary, we were the first type of this thing that they ever allowed in the place, because prior to that, it's just, the best Cuban artist in the world kind of shit would go through there. And man, like I'm telling you, it was such a grind, dude. Like the opening night is, how that goes. Yay! I was like, oh, we killed it. This is gonna be it. Within a month, dude, it was like so hit or miss. There was nights in there. Let me put it to you this way. There was one night, I brought all the speakers in, the whole shit, and I remember my son would help me carry things in there and everything. And my wife was just like, well, why? Why are you doing this? But I was like, I really believed in, number one, I really loved the idea of Little Havana. I felt like, I guess I was early on it. It did pan
popped.
out. Yeah, it popped, but I was way early on it. And the thought of playing in a place that was known for these masters of Cuban music playing and Latin music in general. So I was like, this is like the perfect blend to do here. But there was one night that not a single person showed up, dude. Not one. Like we sat, we were just there waiting. And then around 1 a.m., the owner just came to me. He's like, no, people, alguna vez eso pasa. And I was like, damn, bro. I just felt like, like the kid at the birthday party,
and nobody showed up.
And it's so horrible.
Oh, man.
And it's such a fucking check.
It's a humbling experience.
It's a check, yeah. And then, I don't know, I feel like I've always, my wife tells me this anyway, that I'm a masochist in that sense. Like, I love to go.
A glutton for pain.
But yeah, dude, I think that keeps you grounded.
How'd you power through? Because you continue doing these off-night events. Like you're 10 years in at Coyo Taco.
Exactly.
Like, and that is just a rendition. That's just a...
Exactly. That's kind of like, that's where, that's the happy ending, I would say. Like, I was too early and maybe a little too, avant-garde for the moment. But I did believe in what we were doing. Yeah. But I realized, like, okay, there's, dude, the owner used to tell me that women would call midweek and say, is this guy really playing there? And then he was like, yeah. And there's like, is it safe to go there? Is there somewhere to park? Like Little Havana was still, yeah. So, but yeah, then
my family grew up there, so I thought it was safe as fuck.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. To me, I was like, oh, this is the crib.
It's a backyard.
But then, I guess the happy ending is fast forward a little bit, still with that hard-headed thing. I want to do this local thing, off night, whatever. And we found the right place, like it something that, and it was Wynwood, which was popping off at the time. Yeah. The owners were just solid guys but they understood sound and the value of it. All those things came together where it's now 10 years in, it's still a pretty good little party,
You've never been a big drinker and you've been at these parties like forever. I think I've had a beer with you maybe once. Like I was in your DJ booth many times, hundreds of times. Do you think that's contributed to your longevity?
Yeah, I mean,
not to demonize drinking, right? Because I like to drink personally, but I'm not at all. But there's obviously a movement of people that don't drink right now in the newer generation, Gen Z, and some of those old school guys are, still like, maybe not quitting, but we want to get a little healthier, but we still like to have a nice drink, right? But now that I'm looking back and I look back at so many careers of people in hospitality and in DJs and clubs, they crash and burn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Late in life. And you're, week in, week out
doing
your thing.
I do think that's important. Like, I've never done drugs other than weed, like at all, never. And I don't really drink much. I like it, but it's not my shit. So, but I do think that it, like, once again, that isn't like a planned strategy so much as it's just who I am kind of shit. But it probably has helped me to be able to stay in this, that. And just, as I started a family very young, and that's like nothing grounds you more than that,
No, sir. It changes your perspective on everything.
I had that at a young age, and so I think those things like help.
You we've been talking a lot about music, but then you obviously and your entrepreneurial spirit and your glutton for pain, but then now you're partners with your brother and a great and family members here at the Grape Ape. How'd you guys come up with this? What happened? Like, I mean, this place is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, it's very cool, man. We're really happy with what's going on here. But dude, the initial thing with this place is my brother basically fell in love with wine at one point in his life, and he's gone all over the world drinking wine and stuff like that, And my family in general, my dad is super duper wine connoisseur.
You guys come from a hospitality family.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. This is, we grew up around this stuff, but he loves wine, always has, and he's kind of instilled that in us. And my brother at one point really got into it, and then that spurred like the inspiration. And my dad started talking about doing something, and they started the wheels in motion of the concept and the whole thing. And then eventually my brother brought in myself and my brother-in-law, Greg, and we had our own, ideas and such. And eventually we came up with the place, and the chef, Giorgio Rapicavoli, that was a really interesting thing, because I've known Giorgio for a long time. He's like my favorite local chef.
Yes, you've been posting about the eating house.
Absolutely.
For
I
years.
I love it. I love what he does. I've always have. But just from as a fan kind of thing. And he was a fan of my music and stuff in his younger days, So that's how we knew each other. And when we started doing this, my brother was like, why don't you call Giorgio, and maybe he knows someone. We were looking to build a team at that point. And he's like, maybe he knows someone and this and that. So I call him, but the last thing we thought was he was going to jump in and do it. We were hoping for a reference, or like for him to refer someone to us or whatever. But then he was like, and then when we met up, he kind of caught the vibe of the place and what we wanted to do. And he was really into it, and he did it himself, and we were like, oh shit, all right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we were like, all right, now we're
he's a G.
We're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
He's a G too, man. What's it like been like
awesome,
to work with him?
No, he's awesome, man. He's a super cool guy, and I think my brother and him have really connected as to what we're trying to do, and he understood like right off the bat what the concept was, and he's just. And the cool thing about him, man, he's constantly changing stuff. Like, we're adding stuff to the menu, doing different things. Like, he's very active, and creative.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's actually really good. I've been a fan of his too for a long time, so I'm excited to order some food. Actually, how's it been working with your brother?
Oh, that's awesome, man. The fact that it's like at this point, almost when we can, on Sundays, we all get together, my whole family, we come here. And it's kind of like a mafia style, Sunday dinner kind of thing. But it's cool, man. Like, because I've been involved in a couple restaurants before that tanked. And, but they were I was more of an investor in one. And then another one, it was with my dad and some other people, other partners and stuff. But I feel like this is the first time I've been able to do something where it's just people I know and love, and it's just us. It's
just
our
you.
thing. Yes,
It's your thing.
Yes, and it's been awesome, man. And the response has been great. I mean,
Have you guys figured out a way to leverage off each other's strengths? Because obviously you and your brother are different, just like me and my brothers are. Actually, I have 4 brothers I work with. I have 3 brothers. There's 4 of us. I work with 2 of them.
I was confused there for a second.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Brothers.
We have 3. We're 4 guys. But 3 of us work together, and we're all very different. But we all leverage off each other's strengths. Have you guys found your groove in being able to do that?
I think things were pretty defined for us before we even opened up, because it's my brother's baby, you know. So we knew he was gonna operate it.
Yeah.
Basically, you know what I mean? And I hate to even say operate it, because it's, you know, it's
passion.
Exactly. He's
His
obsessed
passion.
with this place.
He's obsessed.
Yes. And I remember asking him before I committed to getting into this mess, I was like, I told him, do you want to do this? Because you know what this is, you know, because he's done this before. I was like, you know the life that this is, you know, do you want to do it? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
But that's what I'm saying. It was pretty defined. And then and I think the 3 of us each are very different also, and bring different things to the table. So it's worked out.
Have you ever worked with your father in his restaurants as a kid or anything like that?
Yeah, man, that's the first job I had.
What was your first job in hospitality?
I was prep kitchen, yeah. At my
Prepping
dad's
what?
place. Dude, I would make coleslaw. I would fill like the like ketchup little containers, mayonnaise, the condiments, stocking stuff, beer, you know.
How old were you
I
back
was
then?
15.
I got to get that record money.
Yeah, 15. 15.
Wow, man. So
I
you've been
fucking
at
hated
it.
it.
You hated it.
I fucking hated it. I did.
Leave me in the booth alone so I can do my thing.
Yeah, and you think like at that point I had been DJing for years already, but my mom and my dad are like, no, you're gonna get a job, you know.
Yeah.
And that was it.
You know, I remember. I'm jumping a little all over the place, but I remember going. After we got to know each other, your studio was at your parents' house. Even as a successful, world-traveling, world-famous DJ, we're going to Oscar G's studio. And then we show up. This is a fucking garage at his mom's house. Not even his own house. He still had a house, a family, somewhere else. No.
Yeah.
We're going to my mom's.
I kept it there as long as I could, and then my dad evicted me eventually. But yeah. You know what? The thing is that
I've never. By the way, at that point, I had never seen so many records in my life. Okay, just like that
was my childhood bedroom. You know, so like I felt so comfortable there, and I loved leaving my house to go to the studio. You know. Like I didn't want to have a studio in my house, so we would go there, and then all my friends have been there. We grew up, going to my parents' house and everything. So like, it felt comfortable.
Yeah, you get.
But I said, my dad eventually was like,
"Oh yeah, vete aquí.
Yeah, get your own fucking place.
Get your own shit. Get the hell out of here." So real quick, the food here at the Grape Ape. What are your 3 favorite dishes?
Wow.
There's got to be 3. I mean, if there's probably more, there's more, but 3 standout dishes that you have here at the Grape Ape.
The manchego croquetas, that's our shit. That's like our shit here. Like I every time I come here, I'm like, I'm not gonna have them today. Not today. You know what I mean? Like not this time. I gotta take a break. But then I end up having them just because that's our shit. Those are amazing. And they're manchego croquetas, and he makes like a like the dipping sauce with like black truffle and honey. Man, it's just so good, dude. That's one. Then we have a new one that we just added recently. That's like half chicken a la plancha. That comes with these big tostones and this incredible sauce. Giorgio, his sauces are like incredible,
top notch.
Dude. Yeah,
made from scratch,
yes,
like
100%.
Passion, like just put it in there.
You could taste the work that went into it, and that dish is something that I've I've been having a lot. And another one I really like is we have an octopus dish, which is like a grilled octopus. Then it has like fried little yuccas, like yucca squares with a romesco sauce. That one's amazing. That's definitely one of my go-tos.
You heard it here. What Oscar G's favorites are. I can't wait to see what's next. I can't wait to try them. And Oscar, I mean, I'm sure we could talk for a few more hours, but what's next, man? You have a lot going on. You obviously are not only have built a massive career in DJing and in music and producing and performing, but also in hospitality and in ventures as well, such as here at the Grape Ape with the team you assemble, your brother and Greg and Giorgio. You know, you've established the Oscar G brand is now more than just music. What's next?
I don't know, man. I don't like to think about that too much. Then you know, I've never really operated based on those things. I know that, you know, when you hear people kind of like life coach kind of people, they'll give you like, you know, to achieve success, you need a plan. You're going to need to start with a plan. But I've never had a plan, dude. I've never had a plan. Like I just don't operate like that. I guess I just do things more organically, I guess I would say. And see what comes, you know? Like the thing is I still focus so much on music and on I still love it so much that that's still number one for me. So I feel like if one day that isn't number one for me anymore, then that probably will be the day that I'll become more aggressively doing
looking
stuff
for a
like
plan.
This. Yeah, looking or not. But I still love it so much that I spend countless hours, you know, doing that. So, you know, that's kind of my only plan is I want to be good at DJing. You know, that I really stick to that. And then things like this is just like amazing opportunities that come down the road, and you take advantage of it.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't be afraid to take a chance, you know?
Yeah, you can't move forward unless you're taking a risk.
Exactly.
You know, and then the last one I have is not even on paper, but it's something we were talking about earlier. I've always known you. You were always very like, even though you were dark and murky, you always were very clean cut, and you were very like, you know, I'm going to go to church on Sunday. This is like, I'm clean. Like, and then there was something that one day out of the blue, I forgot the year. I think it was maybe 07 or 08 or 05. I don't know. You just decided to grow a beard, and then you've kept it ever since. And I remember speaking to you back then that it was potentially like a promise or something like that. What's the story behind the beard? I think it's become a signature look of yours, obviously, because it's been you know, but for those of us who have known you for a long time have seen you evolve, right? Uh-huh. Then you got the sleeves, right? But what's the story on the beard? Is there a story, or is it just a fashion?
Yeah, no. Initially, there's definitely a story, which was it's just a promise I made, like a religious promise, and I promised not to shave for a year, I think it was, and but then the thing was that at the end of that year, part of the thing was I had to shave, you know, so that way it wouldn't be like a vanity kind of you know, you can't make a sacrifice if it's helping you. So it's like, you know, so I shaved it, but then afterwards I was like, I kind of love the not shaving idea. So I think it was born like initially it was a very important thing to me, and then it became just laziness, you know, just like
no, that's the truth, man. No?
But yeah, and then you know, after a while, it's just like
trim sometimes, no?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely.
Oscar, is there anything else you want to tell the people of Miami and around the world that are going to listen to this at some point, hopefully?
Just how appreciative I am of people's support over the years, and you know, I just feel lucky that I'm still able to do this thing, you know.
God bless, man. I'm glad you were able to do this thing, too.
Thank God.
Thanks for hanging out, Oscar. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you. I know you're busy, and I know your brother and the restaurant is about to get busy when we open up here. So I appreciate you making time for us, man.
No, thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Anytime.